They called him the Drunken Master, because nothing about Emanuel Augustus seemed normal. His extravagant antics and hypnotic boxing style made him one of the most unforgettable performers this sport has ever seen. Today we look back at the chaos of Kung Fu, the fearless style, and the incredible career of the true drunken master of boxing, Emanuel Augustus. His real name was Emanuel Burton, or Manny for short. He was born in 1975 in the American Midwest, the same area of the country that saw the birth of the famous Mayweather boxing dynasty. But his early years were nothing like theirs. His parents abandoned him when he was a child. He grew up moving from one foster home to another, and by the time he reached his teenage years, he had already seen the inside of a cell. After his release at 17, he saw Mike Tyson destroying his opponents on TV, and that sparked a fire inside him. He walked into a gym with nothing. He was so broke that he couldn't even afford a manager. But that didn't stop him. In 1994, Emanuel Burton, 19 years old, turned professional. No manager, no promotional contract, and no safety net. Manny took fights on short notice against anyone, anywhere for whatever money they offered him. And people quickly realized that he didn't fight like anyone else. His constant head movement and footwork looked like those of a man about to trip over the curb. And then somehow he would dodge every punch thrown at him and counterattack from tight angles. Fans compared him to Jackie Chan's character in the Kung Fu movies, the Drunken Master. A style that looked like a mess. And yet it worked wonderfully. Then came 1998, and Augustus went on a streak of 10 consecutive victories with 6 knockouts. And his first big test on the world stage was just around the corner. Augustus crossed the Atlantic to face the British southpaw John Thaxton on his own turf in the United Kingdom. Thaxton was no joke. He was the IBF and WBO Intercontinental Super Lightweight Champion, and he had successfully defended his title for 2 years. The British crowd expected to see their man quickly finish off this American boxer with a peculiar style. But what they got was something completely different. Thaxton came out aggressive in the first round, quickly knocking Augustus down with a push. Thaxton dominated the early rounds with wide right hands and had a comfortable lead on the judges' scorecards. True to his unconventional style, Augustus began to showboat in the middle rounds, taking Thaxton's clean shots while using head movement to keep himself safe. Thaxton kept landing punches, and an injury to Manny's right hand forced him to work almost exclusively with his left for long stretches. But Augustus kept pressing forward relentlessly. By the 7th round, the drunken master had already seen enough. Augustus increased the pressure, hurt Thaxton midway through the round, and started landing powerful punches that went unanswered. With Thaxton taking severe punishment while standing, referee Dave Parrish stepped in and stopped the fight at 2 minutes and 14 seconds of the 7th round. Manny had just gone into enemy territory and knocked out a 2-belt Intercontinental champion on his home turf with his right hand shattered. Back home, the momentum continued. And the next opponent was the undefeated and powerful Terrell Fingers with 21 wins and 15 knockouts. A perfect record based on pure punching power. From the very beginning, Finger came out aggressively, clearly trying to back up those numbers right away and settle things before Augustus could get weird. But Manny wasn't fazed. He spent the first round studying his opponent, taking those hard hits and letting Finger believe his plan was working. By the middle rounds, Finger's power, which had defeated 15 men before him, was starting to fade. And Augustus took control, using his volume of punches, his agility, and his head movement to tactically outmaneuver the undefeated prospect. He tried everything. He stayed on the ropes, he clinched, he backed up. He needed answers, but against the drunken master, there are no answers. Energy and... With about a minute left in the 8th and final round, Augustus found the off switch and unleashed a relentless attack on Finger, until a devastating combination left him flat on his back on the canvas. The referee didn't even finish the count. It was over. The undefeated streak had come to an end, and the legend of the Drunken Master grew even more. His next opponent was Irish Mickey Ward, working-class warrior whose story would later inspire the Oscar-winning movie The Fighter, which won 2 Academy Awards in 2011. Ward was 35 years old and had a record of 36 wins and 10 losses with 27 knockouts. And he was revered for one thing above all else: body shots. Augustus got the call 2 weeks in advance. No one expected a classic, but what they got was a war for the ages. From the very first round, Ward pushed Manny against the ropes and just unleashed a barrage of punches. A first round full of relentless, unyielding pressure. But Manny adapted. By the third round, the Drunken Master was in full effect. The footwork, the head movement. He dodged the punches and counterattacked from tight angles. Ward couldn't land a hit on him. In the 7th round, Augustus caught Ward with a devastating shot to the liver. Ward later admitted that it was the hardest body shot he had ever taken in his entire career. Manny was winning at the beginning of the 9th round, but Ward finally prevailed, dropping Augustus to his knees with a devastating left hook to the liver. Going into the final round, the scores were very close, and somehow, Augustus found another gear. He went back on the offensive. He took the fight to Ward all the way to the final bell. The legendary trainer and commentator, Teddy Atlas, couldn't hold back ringside when he said, both fighters emptied their energy reserves in a frantic final 10 seconds of exchanges. When it was over, 2,000 punches had been thrown between the two men. The fight was awarded Fight of the Year and nominated for Fight of the Decade. And yet, the judges awarded Ward the victory by unanimous decision in a grueling war of attrition. But in boxing, Emanuel Augustus almost never got what he deserved on the scorecards. After the fireworks of 2001, Augustus returned in 2002 with the intention of reminding people what he was capable of when everything went perfectly for him. He faced Jesus Santiago, and this was the fight that showed the true drunken master in action. Augustus used his elite defensive elusiveness and his shoulder rolls. In true fashion, Augustus switched to his peculiar showman style with his hands down to provoke Santiago. With Manny's constant head and body movement, Santiago couldn't find a clear target, so Augustus was always half a step ahead of every punch. By the 8th round, the damage had piled up on Santiago's face. His right eye had been swollen and shut for several rounds. Manny had started attacking his blind side, landing heavy punches from angles Santiago simply couldn't see coming. Then came the decisive right hook, a huge punch that sent Santiago to the canvas. Another night, another great boxer destroyed. Without a manager, Augustus was always available for fights on short notice. This time, he accepted the fight with only 48 hours' notice, replacing Vilches' original opponent to face the executioner, Carlos Wilfredo Vilches, who had an impressive record of 37. What followed was another display of the drunken master at his most entertaining, with unpredictable, and beneath all that showmanship, he proved that he knew how to box. Vilches tried to take advantage of his height and reach, relying on a stiff, fast jab to control the distance and keep Augustus at bay. Throughout the middle rounds, Augustus focused on body work to slow down his opponent while finding his rhythm. His constant pressure opened up an ugly cut near Vilches' left eye. In the 8th round, the accumulated damage and the worsening cut near Vilches' eye forced the fight to be stopped, giving Augustus a surprising victory by technical knockout. Another victim of a short-notice fight. Another night of work that should have received much more attention than it did. Later that same year came what might be the most bittersweet result of Augustus's entire career. Lee Evander Johnson, a man who would go on to become the IBF lightweight world champion. This was a real fight against a true elite fighter, and Augustus stood his ground for a full 10 rounds. Manny used his unpredictable style to frustrate one of the best technical boxers in the division, matching Johnson punch for punch, making a future world champion work hard in every exchange. The fight took on a tortoise and hare dynamic, with Johnson moving forward with a steady jab and a high work rate, while Augustus lunged forward with explosive flurries and flashy combinations. In the end, the judges declared the fight a split draw. Most observers felt that Augustus deserved the victory, but what matters most is that the man who would go on to hold a world title couldn't stop Emanuel Augustus. That alone says it all. 2 years later, after alternating wins and losses by decision, Augustus finally got the biggest opportunity of his career against Alex Trujillo for the IBS Super Lightweight World title. 12 rounds for a title on the biggest stage Augustus had ever stepped on. And he rose to the occasion. The Drunken Master was in top form, using his signature unpredictable head movements, his fluid footwork, and his showboating. He frustrated Trujillo by occasionally dropping his hands and dancing. Despite his strange fighting style, Augustus was very effective in close quarters, landing precise uppercuts and combinations to the body and head through Trujillo's guard. Frustration led Alex Trujillo to land a low blow that cost him a point deduction. By the championship rounds, the Drunken Master had taken complete control. Augustus outworked and outpunched Trujillo throughout the 12 rounds, ultimately securing a wide unanimous decision that was decisive for his career, making him the eBay Super Welterweight World Champion. For one perfect moment, the universe had finally given Emanuel Augustus exactly what he deserved. And then came what might be the most infamous night of Emanuel Augustus's career. Not because of anything he did wrong, but because of what was done to him. Courtney Burton was a boxer known for his unsportsmanlike behavior, with a record of 20 wins and 2 losses, and an arrogant attitude that didn't match his achievements. This fight was held in Burton's territory, which made him the local favorite. Augustus went on the attack immediately with that machine gun offense, controlling the center of the ring. At one point, he had a 33-15 advantage in punches landed. In the fourth round, Augustus landed 2 clean body shots that made Burton drop to his knees. However, referee Dan Kelly considered it a low blow and gave Burton a 5-minute break. And still, the referee kept finding reasons to interrupt Manny. Phantom low blow calls. Warnings that made no sense. Interventions calculated specifically to break Augustus's momentum every time he got into a rhythm. Ninth round. Burton repeatedly threw low blows and kidney punches. Instead of penalizing Burton, referee Kelly deducted a point from Augustus for moving around. In the end, the judges gave a very controversial split-decision victory to the local favorite, Burton, considered by many as one of the most infamous robberies in boxing history. Teddy Atlas, who was watching from the commentary booth, ended up completely losing his composure. This fight became the perfect summary of what Emanuel Augustus's career had always been. Brilliant inside the ropes, but betrayed outside of them. After that experience, Augustus returned in 2005 as a changed man. Less clowning, more aggression, and more focus. And then came what many consider the best performance Emanuel Augustus ever delivered. Ray Oliveira, a former champion with power, experience, and a reputation built over a long professional career. Oliveira came in believing he knew what to expect. He had watched the tapes. He knew about the dances, the showboating, the unpredictable moves. But he wasn't prepared for the rhythm. From the first bell, Augustus dominated every second of every round, throwing 2 punches for the price of 1, finding Oliveira's head from every angle. During the first 7 rounds, Augustus relied on his signature, unorthodox style, throwing punches from wildly unpredictable angles. But Oliveira countered it with relentless pressure and a constant jab. Despite Oliveira's reputation for throwing a huge volume of punches, Augustus was the more accurate fighter, landing 351 of his 814 punches, a connect rate of 43%, while Oliveira landed only 188 of his 871 attempts, just 22%. Then, in the 8th round, something changed. Oliveira began grimacing in pain and clutching his neck. Referee Steve Smoger stopped the fight so the ringside doctor could examine Oliveira. Oliveira was suffering from an unbearable headache. His hands had gone numb. He was in serious danger, and he kept fighting, and Augustus noticed. He stopped aiming for the head completely. He focused his attacks exclusively on the body, protecting his opponent while still fighting, waiting for the corner or the referee to step in and make the right decision. Then the stoppage came. Later it was revealed that Oliveira had suffered a pinched nerve in his neck, an injury that would force him to retire from boxing. This is possibly the most human act you will ever witness inside a boxing ring. Augustus didn't just stop Ray Oliveira. He may have saved his life. A year later, the Drunken Master finally got his rematch against the infamous Courtney Burton. The same man who had benefited from one of boxing's most shameful decisions 2 years earlier was once again facing Emanuel Augustus in the... This time, there were no accommodating referees, and this time, there was no escape. During the first 3 rounds, Augustus used his superior speed, movement, and great ring intelligence to bewilder Burton. King and landing se avecinaba. Automin landing precise combinations, reminding him exactly what happened the last time they shared the ring and what was coming. By the fourth round, Burton was visibly shaken. His spirit was already fading. He had already been in this situation with Manny before, and a part of him knew exactly how this was going to end. In the eighth round, Augustus stepped on the gas, landing a brutal legal left hook to the body that landed flush, that hurt Burton. Augustus immediately followed up with a ferocious barrage of body shots that knocked Burton down. Unable to beat the referee's count, Burton was counted out on his knees, securing a definitive KO victory for the drunken master. Emanuel Augustus had just avenged the most controversial defeat of his entire career in the most satisfying way imaginable. Emanuel Augustus, the drunken master. A man who never got everything he deserved from boxing, but a man who gave everything for it, every single time.